Welcome back, everybody. Here we go with some more Kerbal Space Program. Last time we got our intrepid explorers home from Eve, but discovered that our brief trip into Eve's atmosphere had stripped away our parachutes, and they have no way to land. So we're going to go ahead and build a quick probe to send some parachutes up, and then we'll do some in-orbit construction to move the parachutes from our probe over to the first woman one and see if we can get everybody down safely. So we're going to need about, I would guess, somewhere between 3,800 and 4,000 delta V to launch this probe into orbit. Obviously, we're going to need something that can fly it, so we'll need a probe to start. I think the Octo 2 should probably be fine. What do we have here? We have prograde, retrograde, radial normal. All that should be good enough. So we'll start with one of these. Next, we're going to need a little bit of power. So let's go ahead and get one of these in here. There we go. And then what else are we going to need? The interior antenna is probably sufficient. We're going to be pretty close to orbit on Kerbin, and the tracking station's level 3, so the interior antenna should be fine. A little tiny bit of power generation couldn't hurt, so we'll put one thing on here. Let's go ahead and throw a nose cone on. That's too big. We have a teeny tiny one somewhere. Let me sort these by mass. Small nose cone. There we go. That'll do the trick. And what else do we need? We're going to need those parachutes, but those can be mounted on the side. Let's grab some engines, or no, some fuel tanks here. So the Oscar C is probably going to be sufficient. Maybe 3. And then we can put one little photovoltaic panel on here. That should be sufficient. What else do we need? We need an engine, for sure. We need something with enough thrust to get us out into the atmosphere. So the spark's probably not going to cut it. An ISP in the atmosphere of 265 is good, but the 16 kilonewtons of thrust is not. Let's see. A torch might do the trick. Then again, this is pretty small. Maybe the... Let's see, we've got the spark. Got some twitches. Let's see what a spark looks like if we throw this on there. That's got enough TWR, but we don't have enough delta V here. So we can throw some more tanks on. Now, of course, the other thing to think about is the fact that this delta V will increase as we get higher into the atmosphere. So, for example, if I go to the altitude and put it at, let's say, 25 kilometers, that pushes up to 3,500. So we don't need too much more. Let's see if one more fuel tank does the trick. There we go. That's enough. That should be enough. So we need to get this into orbit. And then we're also going to need our parachutes to take off the side. So we want, I think, probably 2 should be enough, but I think we'll go with 3 just for good measure. The ship is... It's mostly just a capsule, so 2 should be fine, but I think we'll go with 3 for good measure. Just throw these on here like this. This isn't actually going to land, so it doesn't matter where they are. Although their weight has changed things a little bit. So maybe one more fuel tank. I wonder if this is still the right engine here. Spark has 16 kilonewtons and 265. torch has... Well, yeah, delta V... The TWR isn't our problem, although I guess now it is. Yeah, let's try the torch instead. Actually has a higher ISP for the atmosphere, but it has more weight. So that's a problem. That gives us more than enough TWR here. We're looking a little light on gas. These have 275 compared to the spark. So actually, 2 of these has more TWR. How much is the weight? 0.08? Let's try a couple of Twitch engines instead. What if we do something like this? That is better. Got plenty of TWR and 2374 here. We could throw a couple of boosters on as well, just to get us up that first initial climb. That's probably the solution. What else would we need? We probably don't need the photovoltaic panel. We're just getting to orbit, and we have a battery pack, so that's got 200 charge in it. That should be enough. I think this is good. Maybe actually we don't need the Twitch, because if we're going to use boosters, we can put something on the bottom. Spark has 320 in a vacuum. Maybe the spark is better. We'll call this the second stage. And then we'll just throw a couple boosters on. So what do we want for boosters? The shrimp? Maybe. Let's get a decoupler going. Is this the smallest one? Yeah, this is the smallest one. Okay. Let's get a couple of shrimps on here. There we go. That looks pretty good. That should get us where we need to go. TWR 1.7 is fine. And then up here, yeah, that looks pretty good. So now the other thing we want to do is make sure that our center of mass moves upwards as we drain the fuel tanks. So we'll set the lowest tank to have the higher priority. What do we have, 5 here? So this one can go to 1. This one can go to 2. This one can go to 3. And this one can go to 4. There we go. That looks good. That should be enough delta V to get us where we're going. So the last thing we want to do is get some aerodynamics on here. Let's get some wings. A couple of winglets should do the trick. Actually, these are too big. Let's just get some basic fins. Oh, that's not right. There we go. That looks good. And then we can just shift these down just a bit. I think actually we'll turn off the snap and push them up just a skosh. That looks good. And then do we want some fins on this thing as well? I'm not sure. These are only going to be there for the first 1,000 meters per second. I think we would benefit from a little bit more control. I guess we can put 2 this way and then just rotate the ship as soon as it's ready to fly without the boosters. That looks good. Okay. So this should be able to get to orbit. This is only a $5,000 rocket. This is really simple. So the boosters take us off. They have enough TWR to get us up. Then we go switch over to this engine, put ourselves into orbit, and then the other ship can rendezvous. We can take these lovely parachutes off and put them on our other ship. I think that's gonna work. So let's just let's give this a name. Shoot probe. Shoot drone 1. There we go. And let's launch it. So, very simple here. We just need to get into orbit, and then the other ship can take care of the rendezvous. Small little ship, 5,000 bucks. Nothing too serious. Let's send it. 50 meters. Oh, we're not going to be able to... These have no gimbaling, so we're going straight up, it looks like. Interesting. It's tilting the wrong way here. I wonder why. All right. Looks like we need at least some kind of a little bit more, what's it called? Reaction available. Where's our center of mass here? Right down here. Okay. Let's put a couple of these on. Just 2 should do the trick. Just to give us a little bit more control, I think. The mass does kind of take a little bit off of our delta V budget, but we need to be able to control the ship. So hopefully that's sufficient. Let's try this again. That's a little bit better with those reaction wheels on the side, radially mounted. Gets us the start of our gravity turn. Okay, let's turn a little bit more. As we get up to 10, we'll push a little bit further. Okay, that looks good. Let's push it down more. It's a little hard to control. Aerodynamics are pushing it pretty hard. So we just need to get into orbit. That's all we really need. Pretty close to our apo here, but it's still climbing. I'm nervous that this number is falling, though. I'm not sure we're going to get to orbit with this. I need to angle it up just a little bit more. Fighting through the atmosphere here. Okay, we've got some time now. It's growing. That's good. I don't know if we're going to have enough DV, though. That's the problem. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be a little short here. Well, maybe not. Who knows? Let's see. Okay. Got 249. That should be enough if we can get closer to the... We're losing speed, though, is the problem. Can we get this into a stable orbit with just 250 left? Tharls, welcome to the channel. Hello. Let's see. This would be just barely enough right now. I don't think it's going to be enough to get into our orbit, though. Let's see. Let's leap forward a little bit. Once we're out of the atmosphere, we should get a little bit more thrust. I'm going to pull this down to about 30 seconds, maybe 20, and then hit the boosters full blast to see if we can get into an orbit here. It's a tiny little ship. I don't know if it had enough fuel to do this. We'll find out in a moment. I think we'll get as low as possible. There we go. It's climbing. That's good. And we're short. Okay, we don't have enough here. So, back to the assembly we go. So the boosters weren't quite enough to get us where we needed to be. 3744, that's a little on the tight side without a perfect gravity turn. So I think we need to add just a little bit more fuel here. Let's go ahead and grab another fuel tank. Another Oscar C might do the trick. 39, 37. That seems pretty good. What's our TWR here? 1.75. Let's nudge that down just a little bit. There we go. That looks better. Okay. Let's try this again. I'll try to aim for a better gravity turn as well. So wait for 50 meters per second. Start angling a little bit here. Just a bit. There we go, that was good. Hold on to that for a while. Through the clouds we go. Sailing under the power of the spark. I think we'll hold this attitude for a bit. Right around 50, 52, 53 degrees. We'll just punch this up out to orbit if we can. Come down a little bit here. 45-degree angle. Time to Apo is growing ever so slowly. At least it's not shrinking, that's good. I'm going to keep this as close to 0 as possible. So every time it starts growing, I'll angle down a little bit more. Keep it under 30 seconds. We're doing very well in terms of efficiency here. going to start hitting speeds where the atmosphere is going to start really biting into us. Target prorate in a moment here. It's falling a little tiny bit, but okay, it's holding mostly steady. We might need to angle up just a little bit. Just enough to keep this from falling. There we go. That looks good. It's growing too fast. Let's go directly horizontal here. Throttle down a bit. Oh no! Oh! What happened there? Well, that wasn't good. I guess we're going too fast. Why hasn't the "your ship blew up" screen happened though? Huh. Haven't seen that before. Spaceman, welcome back to the channel. Jan Koifman, welcome to the channel. And yeah, hi guys. So that was bad. What happened? Basic fin exploded due to overheating. Probodyne Octo 2 exploded due to overheating. Huh. Okay. I guess I went too hard there. So I'll have to try that again. I was angling for way too much efficiency, and when we got up to those speeds, we were too low in the atmosphere. So I need to angle a little bit higher than I did on that attempt. All right, I can make that work. Climb a little bit more before we get up to those speeds, so a little bit less efficiency. See if we can get into orbit with this craft. Anyway, to answer you guys what I'm doing, quick load, yeah. I don't know. That was unexpected. I didn't think the stresses were that high. So we're just trying to get this into orbit because we need parachutes on our other ship. So we're going to put this in orbit, and then the other ship's going to rendezvous, and we're going to swap the parachutes over to the other ship. That is the current idea, anyway. See if we can get a little bit higher in the atmosphere this time, a little bit more quickly before our speeds start to get up there, because that's what caused the explosion. It happened so briefly. How long did you take to build that ship? I built it in about 5 minutes, to be honest. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. It's just a drone to get these parachutes up there. So it's really just a bunch of fuel tanks, engine, a little bit of fin here, and some reaction wheels, the parachutes, and a battery and a nose cone. That's pretty much it. That plus the boosters kind of handled everything I needed. Okay, now we're climbing higher more quickly, so hopefully we'll get higher up in the atmosphere. Let's pull this over to the right a little bit. It's off target where it should be. There we go. We'll just keep it here around 45 degrees for a while. We can push this out a little further than we had before. Good staging, that's a good idea. Pitch higher up. Hey, Radu, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, I think we're going to leave it where... I went way lower way sooner last time, so I think we're going to leave it around 45 for a bit. Try to climb up out of the atmosphere. First time talking to a streamer, Jan Koifman. Well, technically I am a streamer and you are talking to me, so enjoy your first. Spaceman, you did the same with batteries, yet wait, you ran out of power. Okay, this is looking much better. I'm going to cut the engine here and wait till we get a little bit higher before I push up the thrust again. Wait until this gets down to like 45 seconds, and then we'll put it back up. I like to keep this around 45 if I can. There we go. 46,000. We're much higher in the atmosphere now. It's a much better scenario to be in. Still don't know if this has enough delta V to get us into orbit, but we'll find out. All right, I'm going to bring the throttle way down and try and lower this time to reach a little bit. Just keep speeding up here. 800, it's going to be very, very close. Hey, Josue, what's your PC specs? Just wondering. I have a ROG Strix 15, I think it's called, if you want to look that up. It's got like a 3080 mobile chip for the graphics card and, I don't know, like an i9 in there or something. Okay, we want to keep this as low as possible. We also need the apo and the periapsis above 70. This ship may just not have enough oomph, I guess. Burning through the rest of the delta V here. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna make it. I just don't have enough delta V in the tank for this ship, unfortunately. There we go. We're gonna run out before we even hit apo. So I did worse this time. All right, so this ship is not good enough. Let's go back to the launch. Yan asks, do you play KSP2? No, I do not. So at the moment, I'm holding off on purchasing KSP2 until they put a lot more work into it. It's sort of in an unready state at the moment, in my opinion. Okay, so we probably need better boosters. The shrimps are not cutting it. So what can we put on instead? We're using the shrimps. What's the next kind of level of booster here? I guess the hammers, but they're a little bit hard to work with. We could use the thumpers, maybe. Let's try putting thumpers on here instead. It's like too much booster for the rocket, but... yeah, that's way too much. Let's bring the thrust limit down. Alright, 1.36 is good. This will definitely get us where we're going. That's like an additional 1,600 meters per second of delta V. So it's, like I said, it's overkill, but it is what it is. Let's throw a couple of fins on here for stability. And get some winglets on this one. They're less likely to explode. All right, this should do the trick, I think. And this is way too much booster, but I'm not messing around anymore. I want to get up there. Okay, let's try this. Boosters seem too big. I agree. So the other thing I could consider doing is going back to the shrimps, but using like 3 instead of 2. But this will definitely get us to orbit. I just don't know whether I'll be able to control it. Let's find out. Oh, maybe I should have auto-strutted it. By the way, how many hours did you guys on KSP? So Spaceman, I'm up around 60 hours now, I think. Roughly. Spaceman has 80 hours. Jan Koifman has 600 hours. That's crazy, man. That's a lot. Let's pull this over a bit. There we go. And this is kind of falling too fast. I want to go back higher if I can. Nope, it's not going to let me. I don't have enough reaction wheel power to keep this from turning over. What are we doing here? A lot of solid fuel left. hoping it doesn't drop too far too fast. It's giving us speed, but not the height we need. I may have turned it a little bit too early. Definitely gonna have to pitch up as soon as I get rid of these boosters. Going very fast to be this low in the atmosphere. Let's pitch up quite a bit here. Oh man, it's really hard to control at the moment. Right, let's see if we can get some height going. Okay, up to 60 and change. That seems pretty good. Let's get some height before we do any more boosting. Thankfully, nothing has blown up this time. So, all right, let's get a little bit closer to Apo here, and then we'll start boosting again, and we'll see if we can get into an orbit here. 1,000 arrows from Radu. That's a lot. That is a huge amount of time spent in the game. That's crazy. Well, no wonder you're able to beat the career mode on like super hard. You probably don't make any mistakes. Every rocket you build is like flawless because you've done so much. Okay, we're tracking prograde here. I think we'll wait for this to get down to like 30 or so, and then we'll start putting in a little bit of thrust. Trying to land on Joule. What should I name the crew? Let's see. The Carnelians, the Emeralds, the Topazes. Something Joule related. Crystal Crusaders. All right, let's start putting in a little bit of thrust and try and slow this time to reach down if we can. Still falling. I'd like to get to 70. I'd like to get our periapsis up. So we need to be at full blast here. And I think we need to pitch up just a little bit. A little bit more. There we go. Now the time to reach is climbing, and so is our apoapsis. This is good. I think we've got enough DV to hit orbit this time. Let's pitch back down now. Hovering right around 30 is good. I'm going to take a little bit off the throttle here. I don't want this climbing too much. We do need our Apo above 70, as well as our Peri. Just a little bit of thrust will do us. We need to just get these out of the atmosphere. The Suicide Gang? Tested for hours on Sandbox, the rockets. Gotcha. Siconians. Do you have a big enough heat shield to go to Joule? Well, you can't land on Joule, right? I mean, it's a gas giant. You can kind of get down until... You can get down into the atmosphere, I guess. But I believe, from what I've seen on YouTube, there's a certain point where your craft is just destroyed because you've gone too low. The gravity and the pressure just kill you. All right, so there's our Apo over 70. We've got plenty of DV. We should be fine here. This is looking pretty good. I think we've done it now. This is about as low as we can get, though. I'd like a little bit more height, so we'll leave this running for a bit. Actually, we'll pitch up just a little bit as well. Let's get that Apo up to like 71-ish. There we go. And then we just need a little bit more thrust near apoapsis to get our periapsis up to 71 as well. Then we'll be in a nice stable orbit, and we can figure out the next piece of this puzzle. Okay. And there we go. We are in orbit. Okay, so the the boosters I put on were definitely too much. We've got 1,200 left over that we don't need, but I was just having trouble getting to orbit with the shrimps, so we did a little bit of overkill there. All right, next up, let's save this, and let's go to the tracking station. Now I need to rendezvous with that ship from the First Woman 1. Let's get rid of the debris here. All right, so let's turn off ComNet for a bit. Where are we here? Here's our ship. And the other ship is over here, so it's behind us. So, if we wait a while, we're traveling, that's 2294, we're traveling at 2418. If we wait a few orbits, we should kind of catch up to it. And then we can kind of circle down to it. So what we're going to want to do is put a node here, or put a... we're kind of inclined a bit against it as well. Let's fly the First Woman here. Good job, says Jan Kaufman. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. So we got to get over to that other ship. And to do that, we are going to set it as our target. And then we're going to come over here to periapsis. Well, actually, what we need to do first is get our orbit on the exact same plane. So I guess we come over here to the descending node. And we do a little bit of normal, I think. Yeah, normal. Let me pin the descending node here. Okay, it needs a little bit more juice. 3, 2, 1. Okay. That puts the descending node at 0. All right, so 55 meters per second. What do we have? We have 1333 left. Okay. This is a good start. We're going to want to bring our engines way down here. And face our maneuver. And let's warp forward a minute. And get there. Okay. 15, 10, 9, 7, 6, 5. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, burn. So now we're getting into the same plane as the drone that has the parachutes we need. Okay, that's basically fine. Let's double check. Where's our DN here? Yeah, 0.0. All right, so we're on roughly the same plane here. And oh, look at this. We actually have a very close encounter here in just one orbit now. So we're going to be ahead of it here, which means if we come here and slow down to match its orbit, we'll be very close, I think. I can't quite tell. Intersect 1, separation 765. That's not right. That's in an hour. Where was the one that we just saw? So in 30 minutes, we're going to be 50 kilometers away. Is that what we want to do the rendezvous? You're rendezvousing. Yeah, rendezvousing, exactly. So I'm trying to get these to line up. I think I want to fly the other ship, though, maybe. Where is the other ship? Over here. Let's switch to this. Okay, so what we want to do is set this as our target. Set the this ship as our target. And we want to figure out how and when are we going to catch up right around the periapsis here. So let's set a maneuver node on the periapsis. And then if we start cycling forward orbits, yeah, that's the one where they're pretty close. So we would need to speed up here. Can I get it closer than this? Is there a better, if I go like more orbits, for example? No, not really. So we're very close. Our orbit is actually inside. So maybe what I do... What if I come over here and tweak this just a little bit at Apo? How does that affect things? Why can I not place a maneuver node right now? Oh, we're on the circular orbit. Okay. This is fairly close, but I don't think it's close enough. 53 kilometer separation. So what if I come over here and I slow it down a little bit or speed it up a little bit? How does that change the separation? Let's see. So if I add like 1 meter per second of retrograde, we're at 53.4. That puts us at 50. Okay. 49. 48 looks like about the best I can do here. And then I can slow down again when we get closer, right? So I can come over to here. We're on the inside one, so we're going faster? No, we're going slower. This is tough. I think the easier way to do this is going to be to circularize the outside orbit first. So let me switch back over here. You got to be 5 kilometers out. Yeah, I know. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to circularize the outer orbit first, and then we'll have an easier time coming up with a really nice intersect. So our apoapsis here is 248. Let's move our periapsis out. You know, we don't need to move it that far out, just a little bit, just enough that we can kind of tinker around a bit. Is this what I want to do? I think not. I think I'll do this the other way. So we will come over here. We're going to be ahead of it, so we can come over here and we can slow down. We can circularize. All right, so let's do that. Let's pull this down to 72 on both sides. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right. So 129 meters per second, excuse me, 129 meters per second gets us into a very similar orbit. And then we have an intersect that's 50 kilometers away, and we can start playing around with doing some burns to get closer and further away. Well, the other thing is intersect 1. So if I start tweaking this a little bit more. Oops, that's too much. Where did intersect 1 go? 50, 50.2. It's basically staying the same. Yeah, so the problem is that once you get up there, once you get close, then how do you connect? You have to kind of mess around with burns to go in and out, and eats up a lot of delta V. So the better thing to do might be to actually make our orbit just a little bit larger over on that side. So we'll kind of This is a tricky one, guys. This is tricky. The other thing I can do is just kind of burn through a bunch of orbits, like let them sit in orbit for a month or two, and this could get closer. So let's come around, yeah, let's come around here to our periapsis instead and add a maneuver here. And let's say we were going to circularize that. We were going to get that right in there with the other one. So we'll need to come in like this, right? So that we're right on top of it. And then if we just move it around a lot, we should be able to kind of catch up to where it is. That's 54. 158. 261. 362. That's getting closer. 79. That's 25 kilometers. There we go. That's 4.1 kilometers. That's enough to be getting along with. All right. So that is 8 days away. All right. That one I can make work. Okay. Let's do that. And let's quick save here. Let's go ahead and warp forward. Quite a few orbits. Okay, do you mod KSP? Check the stream description. Yes, I do. I do use some mods. I use a handful of mods, like 12 or 13 or so, mostly for visual enhancements, and like there's one for time warp, I think. All right, so we're already very close, 5,000 meters away, and we're just gonna burn retrograde here to circularize and keep ourselves very close now. And then once we're in that position, we can use some other techniques to get into rendezvous. Cool, I do too. Cool, man. Yeah, I use Eve, I use Scatterer, I use Waterfall, I use Restock Plus for parts, Better Time Warp, and a few other things. That's most of it, though. All right, we're facing the right direction. Oh, you know what I just realized? We're going to have to check this. Hang on. Well, we might not be able to move the other ship because it might have run out of electric charge with the drone core draining the battery over that 12-day period or 8-day period. Okay, we're in our burn. Slowing down to match velocities with our target. Oh, it's back there. Oh, it's really close. Getting further away, though. Okay. So now it shouldn't be getting... Yeah, it's moving away from us to 15.7. So now we kind of have to do things manually here. If we burn towards the target... Let me quick save. If we burn towards the target... Why is that? We want to burn towards the target, right? That should slow us down. Or is it coming towards us? Is it coming towards us right now? Intersect 1, 3.7 kilometers. Relative speed, 15.8. So that's sort of the closest we're going to be, I guess, over here. So I don't think we really have much of a choice here. We got to get closer to it. We got to start burning. Burn towards the target. Okay, that brings us up to 22 and change. And now our closest separation is 3.2. So I think we'll keep going here. And then we're going to have to turn around and point anti-target for a bit at the separation point to slow ourselves down so it doesn't get further away. And we want to push retrograde onto the target. So right around here at the separation point, we want to be pushing retrograde onto the target. There we go. Now we're down to 2.4. Come over here. Where's our next intersect? Separation 0.01 kilometers. Oh, okay, so right over here, we're going to be right next to it. In 2 minutes. Okay, somehow I did this right. Okay, so we're going to need to face anti-target, I think. Because it's catching up to us. Yeah, we need to face anti-target and get ready to burn. Alright, this somehow worked out. Let's speed this up a little bit. Bring it in. I do use CCAN to manage my mods, for sure. Okay, here it comes. It's hard to see because it's right there in the sun. 500 away. Push this onto the target just a bit here. Slow it down. 6.9 meters per second. Just burn and slow it down as it approaches here. 100 meters. Okay, let's get over here. That's good. 20 meters away. We need to get our relative velocity down to roughly 0. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Now I kind of need some RCS to just get us right in there so we can transfer the chutes. So I'm going to turn RCS on here. We're going to play around with this a bit. Getting further away. Get a little bit closer to it. Not easy, this rendezvous stuff. I'm surprised how well we've done. Can we get close to it and zero out is sort of the question. I've gone too far to the right. I think that's about the best I can do. So now we'll see if my plan works. We do need to... I don't have RCS to go up, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to point... what do I want to do here? I want to point radial in, I think. And then use RCS to go up a little bit. There we go. All right, and now I'm drifting away from it another direction. Okay, let's zero out. Damn, this is challenging, you guys. This is not easy. You know what's going to make it easier? Let me go to the actuation controls and turn off yaw, pitch, and roll. We'll just use SAS for that. Okay. Now then. Let's point towards the ship. Go forward. Oh, we're getting further away from it. Oh man, this is rough. I know a mod, those Kerbals look so happy. Now we're drifting upwards again. Okay. I need to get close to it, and I need to be stationary. That's the main problems. Gone too far. Okay. This is pretty good, pretty good. We're almost there. We're almost where we need to be. All right, we're 5 meters away. I feel like this should be enough. Let me just drop Lori into Ava here and see if I can get her into construction mode and take these pieces off. How can I take these off? I can't. All right. Are we not close enough, or we're still drifting? Let's get a little bit closer. Gosh, this is hard to do. I think you should have added more RCS. This rocket wasn't supposed to have it. At least you got near it. Yeah, I got near it, but I mean, the problem is, how do I... You know, how do I do the Ava now? Get a little bit lower, just a little bit. I think we're going a little bit too far now. See, I can't quite. There we go. Now we're getting pretty close here, I think. I'd love it if I could somehow zero out my velocity entirely. I want this as close to that as possible. Let's point at the target. See how close that gets us. Let's set the... I don't think I'm going to be able to do better than that. So if this doesn't work here, I don't think it's going to work. Let's have her let go. I think that's about as good as I can get. So let me see if, can I now take these pieces off? I can. Look at that. It's going to work. Oh my gosh, it's actually going to work. Just going to put all of these on here right now. And then we'll, okay, we've transferred the parachutes, you guys. That was the big critical piece. Now it doesn't matter if we lose if we kind of are not in as close to this as we'd like to be. Now we just got to set these parachutes up correctly. All right, so first part is done. Let's stabilize our motion here relative to the ship. And so we want one on the opposite side. So we want one like right here. Yeah. Okay, now the ship's collision is causing problems. Man, this is not easy stuff. It's really cool though to actually be able to like pull off this plan. Get over here. I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so the first one, where's the entry? All right, so that one's basically correct. Now we want to move this one. Hold on, come on over. Gotta get real close here. Okay. This one we're gonna move over to like here. I think that's a little bit too much. Maybe like there. No, it needs to be more. More like that, I guess. And then this one can come over here like this. That looks pretty good, evenly spaced, right? So we've got our three parachutes attached. Now we can go home. Oh man, this was cool, but challenging. That rendezvous stuff is not easy. All right. Well, we have parachutes again, you guys. That's a big win, if you ask me. Let's set the altitude to 1200 for all three of them. Spread angle 10. I can't believe this worked, to be honest. Altitude 1200. 10. All right, there we go. So now, all we got to do is go home. Let's do a quick save here. Let's face retrograde. Let's switch to orbit and face retrograde. And now let's try and land at the KSC. All right, so where are we? Let's unset our target here. I guess we can just go out like this. Set target, unset target. Okay. So we want to land at the KSC, which is over there. Now Larry was telling me yesterday to do that. Kind of begin your descent like right around here, I think. Let's just get there. Yeah, you got the parachutes. Yes, Jan Koifman, thank you so much. Bob Schwan says, does that circle display at the bottom left mean you can align the parts? Probably yes. Probably I had the option, but I didn't know it at the time. All right, so we're facing retrograde, and we're just gonna burn. We're just gonna do this by hand. We're not gonna plot or anything. You know, we might want to come a little bit further. Let's come over here. Let's delete this. Let's just get a little bit further along this track here. All right. Let's try burning retrograde and see if we can land near the KSC. Let's just do it. Let's go. Bring our periapsis down to like 35 or so, I guess. And just see what that gets us. All right, so now we separate. Actually, let's face prograde so we can separate away from the fuel tank and the engine. And return to prograde. And now we've just got our heat shield. And fortunately, we also have our parachutes. These are armed. They've been deployed. Very nice. Okay. Let's see what this does. Do we get home? So I kind of want to watch it from this screen and see as the periapsis falls, did we kind of time that right? I was like right over the desert thing and I brought it down around 35, 33, I think is what I went to. 34 it looks like. And now we just kind of let the atmosphere slow us down and see whether it brings us down near the KSC. All right. Let's go. Get down to around 55-ish. Oh, you know what? It might be too shallow. We might be going too far here. Let's see. Yeah, we might be... Where exactly is our periapsis? It's way over on the other side here. So I might not have done this right. I might have needed to go a little bit more here in order to land at the KSC. I don't know. We'll find out. As soon as we start burning up, we will slow down quite a bit, but we're trying to land like right there, so I think we're going to go too far. We're going to pass over it. I'm not going to slow down fast enough. Yeah, I think we've gone too far now. I think we wanted to land right around there. Oops. Yeah, we're passing over it. Okay, so let's try that one more time. I'd like to learn how to do this. Maybe you can land your ship in the ocean and get it with a boat. Yeah, no, absolutely. You can do that. Unset our target here. Again. We're gonna come back to right around here. And we're going to boost retrograde quite a bit more than we did. So we're about I don't know, a quarter of an orbit away. And we face retrograde, and then we bring the periapsis down near the KSE, a little bit ahead of it, I guess. Let's see. Because we'd like to be around like 50, 45 kilometers up the atmosphere right around here, and then slow down and land there. Let's see if we can make this happen. So we're going to bring the periapsis in quite a bit. Maybe kind of another quarter away, like that. And we'll see what that does. All right, let's try that. So face prograde, separate, face retrograde, and time warp. Parachutes are ready. Let's go. At this point, I'm not going to correct it again. I'm just trying to learn how to do this, but the main thing I want to do is get these guys down to the ground. I'd like to land them. They've been out to Eve. They've landed. They planted a flag. They're going to level up to like level 5, I think. Let's see how we're doing. If we can get low enough, the atmosphere will break us. And there goes the rest of the ship. Starting to see a little bit of the heat. Coming up on the KSC here. So the heat really needs to kick in and slow us down now. 50,000 is about when it kind of starts. There we go. Okay. So actually, we may have done this fairly well. If it slows us down enough, we should land at least... We're at least landing near the KSC. We may overshoot or undershoot. I'm not sure. But there's the edge of the... Yeah, it's at the edge of this continent. So we're very close now. It's down below us. It's a question of how quickly the atmosphere breaks us. We're not dropping that fast, not yet, but we're not into the deepest parts of the atmosphere yet. So I think we are going to overshoot it and land in the ocean. But that's okay. Lesson learned. Next time, I bring it in a little bit closer. Recover vessel button. Am I a joke to you? Yeah, the recover vessel button can recover it from anywhere on Kerbin, but one of the things I've seen people who are really good with this game do is land at the KSC, and it's something I always wanted to try to be better at. So we're definitely going to overshoot here. We're going to land in the ocean, because there goes the KSC below us. I can actually see it. It's like right there, I think. I think that's the runway that you can see. So we are going to overshoot it, but not by too much, I don't think. We're low enough now that we're starting to really slow down. Let's see. Let's see how far away we are. $1950. Okay. Do you know Matt Lown? No, I do not know Matt Lown, unfortunately. He seems like a cool guy to know. He's done some really great videos. The person I'd love to chat with is actually Mike Aben. I learned almost everything I know about the game from his tutorials. His channel's great. His tutorials and guides are really well done. They're well thought out, they're bite-sized, they're accurate. Yeah, I really like Mike Aben's channel. There we go. There's our braking mostly complete. Slow down to 800. Where are we right now? We've well overshot the Kerbal Space Center, but not too much. Only like 10 or 15 degrees of an orbit. That's not bad at all. And we have our parachutes, so at this point, let's jump forward. Oh, they deployed. I love that. Okay, we're going to survive. These guys are actually going to go home after like a 3-year mission. 2 years and 75 days. Mission elapsed time. That's what MET stands for. Okay, let's get down to 1200 where these deploy. And the parachutes are holding. Very nice. Very nice. Good job, Lori. I'm so glad we brought an engineer because she was able to get the parachutes off the drone and onto the lander. And so everybody gets home safe and alive, which is fantastic. Now, why aren't those spread more? I thought I put the spread angle at 10. Well, who knows? Whatever. 8 meters per second is survivable impact, especially splashdown in the ocean. After all that, after many, 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 many streams, we finally brought these guys home. Good job, Mikey Jr., Lori, and Radu Jr. Good job. Your mission to Eve was a success. All right, let's get down to the ground. Or the water, I should say. Let's take a look at the mission results. I think these guys are all going to be 5-star Kerbals. That'd be my first 5-star group ever. We'll see. I might be overestimating it, but let's see. Let's recover this vessel. Wow, that's amazing. Even back, baby. Landed on Gilly, planted a flag, came home, fixed the ship in orbit using a drone, and successfully landed. Very cool stuff. All right, so we picked up another 3,000 science from all the science we did on Eve and Gilly. Look at all this stuff. Just look at the huge amount of stuff we did. And then we recovered 20,000. The ship was very expensive, and most of it is flying off into the distance, but we did recover 20,000. 104.5 kilometers from the KSC, 93.1% of value. So that's something I got to work on, is landing near the KSC. I want to get better at that. And then let's see, 27 experience gained, 25 for Lori. So Mikey Jr. was already a 4-star pilot. Lori and Radu both leveled up to 4 as well. So nobody's 5-star yet. We're going to have to go somewhere else to get that. Maybe if we land on Moho and come home, then everybody will be 5-star. But still, very nice. And we gained no reputation. I don't know how that works, but whatever. Okay. Fantastic. We finally did it. We brought them home. So what will you do next? I dare you to land a rover on Luna. In terms of what we're going to do next, I have a lot of ideas swirling around in my head. I would like to actually land on Eve, but that's supposed to be one of the hardest things in the game. So if we go to the tracking station here, there's a couple options. We have now been to the moon and Minmus, obviously. We've been to Duna. We've been to Eve and Gilly. So we could either try to go to Moho, or we could go to Drez, or we could go to Jewel or Elu. So we could try going to another one of these planets. We could go to, I don't know why, I feel like I've read somewhere that nobody goes to Drez, like people find Drez boring or something. I'm not sure why. It's another planet, right? Does Drez have moons? No, it looks like it doesn't. So I guess, yeah, the next targets would either be Moho. Sorry, I've got some hiccups. It would either be Moho or Drez. I'm not sure which one we would go to, but that would be kind of our next plot. Shoot Drone 1, you did your job, and you're only 5,000, so thank you for your service and goodbye. The Heavy Lifter, we left that in orbit around Duna, right? I think it just has a bunch of fuel in it and not much else. We could try to bring Stop 2 Big home. I think the idea was fun here to put a refueler on Minmus, but this ship just isn't the one that we need. It's not good enough. So we could try to bring that home. And then the other things we could do is we could go and look at our contracts and see if they have a challenge for us. Radu says, let's do Moho next. Okay, let's take a look at mission control here. Do we have any active? No, we don't. Okay. So if we look at the high prestige mission, finish construction of a rover on the surface of Minmus. So this is Rocco Max. So we've been to Minmus a lot. And I've done some of these rover repair missions. They're not super fun. They're kind of annoying to drive the rover where it has to be. This does have quite a lot of money on it. Test the TS-50 separator, ferry 4 tourists to their destination. Where do they want to go? Fly by Gilly and land on Gilly. Atmospheric flight on Eve. Are you kidding me? Orbit around Eve. Flight on Eve, orbit around Eve, fly by Eve, fly by Gilly. So we'd have to complete this, we'd have to take 4 tourists back to Eve, dip into the atmosphere, even for a second, and then land them on Gilly. Which wouldn't be too hard, but we just did that. Gravimetric surveys of Kerbin. Build a new orbital station on a solar orbit. Interesting. Antenna docking port and generates power. 2,000 units of ore in your station. Support 9 Kerbals. Orbit of the sun. That one's kind of interesting. Test a parachute. Position a satellite in a specific orbit of Duna. That's interesting. Orbit specifics. Reach the designated orbit around Duna within reasonable deviation. Okay. Have a magnetometer boom on the satellite and maintain stability. Unmanned probe that has an antenna and can generate power. This one's kind of interesting. 7 million kilometers, 175-degree inclination. Longitude of ascending node, 325.7 degrees. This one I don't know how to do, actually. I don't know anything about the longitude of ascending node, so I'd have to look that up. Let's go to Moho next. Jan Koifman asks, when will you stream again? Or can you build a rotating space station if you have robotics? We could get into we could get into robotics, I think. Plant a flag on Duna. We've already done this. Complete the Minmus 3 course. What is this? While working late nights, the scientists at Curlington model rockets and paper products, incubate a startling discovery. We want to know how many planets we can send a Kerbal to before they start ignoring us and fly the ship back. We need you to do a flyby of Minmus, Gilly, and the moon using a single vessel. That's really interesting. Flyby of Minmus, Gilly, and the moon. Huh. New vessel built for the contract. And then fly by these 3 for $750,000. Curlington Model Rockets and Paper Products Incorporated. Curlington has a long history of introducing groundbreaking new technologies, many of which are now considered indispensable for rocketry and aerospace engineering. This has fostered a strong community of loyal Curlington fans, as well as a similarly large group of disgruntled competitors. Paper airplane and rockets. So I'm not super keen on any of these. I think probably what we'll do is I think Moho sounds fun. Let's go to Moho. Let's take our folks and try another planet. In terms of robotics, where is that? What does that give me? Because somebody mentioned that. High performance fuel, nano lathing, metamaterials. Where's robotics? Automation. Is that what we're talking about? The drone core, Communitron, and relay. Specialized electrics. There's a monopropellant APU. I don't even know what this is. APU turbine, inputs monopropellant, outputs electric charge. Oh, that's interesting. So you can turn a monopropellant into electric charge. Rechargeable battery bank, 4,000, that's nice. Fuel cell array. This turns liquid fuel and oxidizer into electric charge, so it's a similar thing. A radioisotope thermoelectric generator. So as long as you radiate heat, it generates electric charge. That's cool. Large probes. MTM stage. A xenon tank. All right. Experimental science. The narrowband scanner. So where is this? Where's the robotic stuff? Do I have to buy one of the expansions to get that? Nano lathing. High performance fuel systems. The Kerbodyne stuff. Okay. I might not have I don't have either of the expansions, so I might not have the robotic stuff. I know there was some. I know I've seen things where people have like a telescoping arm and hinges and like arms that like drop things and stuff. You're talking about the DLC. Yeah, okay. It might be worthwhile. I don't know. I'm going to be playing KSP for a while. It might be worthwhile for me to buy the one or two of the expansions. But in answer to your other question about when do I stream, Sunday, Monday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I do not stream on Saturdays and Tuesdays, which means since today's Friday, my next stream will be Sunday morning at 8:30. And I think the easiest thing to do here is just go to Moho. We can go plant a flag on all the planets in the solar system and then do some other more exotic stuff. But I think Moho will be next. We'll go in, we'll land there, we'll plant a flag, we'll come home. That's the plan. So next time will be Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. That's GMT -8 for those of you who live in other countries. And I hope to see you guys there. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go get some breakfast. So thanks for being here, everybody, and we'll see you next time.